Largest unions, the SEIU and ATU, voted on the tentative agreement today. If they vote to ratify, the BART Board of Directors would then sign off on the deal.
In the long term, we got save our benefits and our work rules, and the safety is very important to us, so it was worth it.
It's been very positive. Everybody's very happy that this was a fair contract. That's the feeling everybody's getting. Of course, some people want more, but they're very happy that it was fair, it was beneficial to the district and beneficial to the workers.
We're very excited because we actually got our safety proposals passed, every single one of them that we were putting forward.
I want to thank our members for standing firm in the belief that health and safety issues are extremely important, and that we were not going to settle without those issues being addressed.
Antoinette Bryant with ATU1555 says the unions did get improved safety enhancements, many of them coming to station agent booths, such as installing bulletproof glass. Economically, the unions end up with a nearly 15.4% raise over 4 years, but will contribute more to their medical plan and will also begin to contribute to their pensions. BART management also sees some key additions.
But the reason we feel very good about the product is because it will allow us to carry this agency forward to provide services to the Bay Area for a long time.
BART General Manager Grace Kronikin says they now have the ability to implement improved technology without always needing mutual agreement from the unions. Management says this helps them to implement everything from wireless handheld devices to the simple use of email over handwritten notes.
You would be stunned at the ridiculous way this place operates. Because everything has to get the union's permission to introduce new technology. So it's not, I don't think we're looking at eliminating workers' jobs at all. What we're looking at is modernizing the work that we're doing here, and we'll receive some dollar benefits from it, but we'll also receive some productivity and let them, Silicon Valley is so close, yet it is so far away from this agency.
The BART Board of Directors still needs to vote on the tentative agreement. That will likely take place the week after next. BART's third, smaller union, AFSCME, also needs to vote on their contract offer, which they are reviewing over the next several weeks.
Members of SEIU and ATU overwhelmingly approved the deal last night. Employees want a 15% pay hike over the next 4 years with increased medical and pension contributions. But BART managers earn the right to change what they view as outdated work rules and introduce new technology without getting the go-ahead from the unions.
You would be stunned at the ridiculous way this place operates. Because everything has to get the union's permission to introduce new technology.
Managers say they'll no longer face roadblocks as they bring on a new fleet of cars or set up an online job assignment system.
This doesn't mean we just ramrod these things through. We still talk to the unions and the employees about the impacts of the new equipment.
We are hopeful that from this point forward, we can go back to doing our jobs, doing it safely, professionally, as we always have in the past.
Station agent. We're voting for a new contract.
And how do you think the BART management handled this whole struggle with the BART workers?
Oh, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. They definitely could have handled it in a much better fashion. They could have shown up at the meetings. They didn't have to delay everything. They didn't have to provoke both strikes. There are a lot of different ways they could have handled the situation.
And what did they want to do? What were their interests in going after the BART workers?
I think they either wanted to take all of the work rules away because they wanted to go into a different direction, and basically they wanted to bust the union. That's what it looks like. That's what they portrayed. That's what they hired Tom Hawk for. So yeah, they definitely were out trying to disband the union.
And do you think the union was prepared for this battle?
I think the union expected it to be like that, but I didn't think that the union probably didn't expect such a hard fight. I think that they were expecting BART to be more fair. They were expecting them to negotiate fairly and in good faith, and that's not what happened.
So they really did not expect BART to basically throw down the gauntlet?
No, I don't think so, because in years past, as from what I understand, in years past, it's never been like this. So. Yeah.
And what are the lessons of this struggle here at BART? I mean, it seems like they're still intransigent against the union. union.
I mean, all in all, we realize that management will never be in favor of labor, and we're going to always have to fight to keep what we have or to be progressive. They definitely have stained the relationship with the union and the workers, and that's something that's really, really difficult to replace.
Who's responsible for the deaths of those workers?
Oh, that's management, 100% management. The warning was already given, don't run trains while we're out. It was a safety provision. We told them about that. You put people behind the train that doesn't know what they're doing, and all of a sudden, man, you have 2 people dead and everyone's throwing their hands in the air going, we don't know what happened.
You think they should be criminally prosecuted?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If someone, if a biker can run through a light and hit someone and they die, someone gets run over by a bus, they get prosecuted, lose their job, someone has to be held responsible.
And if that had been a BART union member?
Oh, yeah, they would have fried him. They would have fried him. They would have put him out there, and they definitely would have fried him. So,
but since it's a management doing it.
Yeah, since it's management, it's kind of like, hey, I personally was appalled because they referred to me as BART family, although none of the management workers, they don't come out into the field, they don't shake our hands, they don't bring us coffee, they don't ask us how our kids are doing, yet we're supposed to be concerned with everything that they're doing, and it's kind of unfair when you call us family and you don't treat us like that.
Now, BART managers and the board have said, and the politicians, that the politicians have said they may ban your right to strike. What do you think about that?
That's ridiculous. I think that, again, it's one of those attacks that's on labor. You would never have to ban the right to strike if you would negotiate fairly. If you negotiated fairly, you negotiated in good faith, you come to the table and you have an open mind just like you're expecting the opposition to have, you definitely could get something done if you come in with the intention of getting something done. You're trying to strong arm everybody, and you're trying to push everybody to just give in to your demands, and it doesn't work like that. That's why it's called negotiation.
Now, one of the things is that they're cost shifting, there's concession bargaining. They're saying you're going to have to pay more for your pension, more for your health care. What do you think about the logic of this kind of?
I'm okay with progressing along. I'm okay with negotiating, but I'm not okay with strong arming. I don't think you just throw something at someone and just go, hey, this is as good as it's going to get, take it or leave it. You negotiate and you come to common ground. There's some things you're going to have to give up as a worker, and there's some things that you shouldn't have to, and you should never have to have your company tell you, hey, we need to fix everything because we haven't done it for the last 40 years, so we're going to fix it on your back, on your wages, on your contributions, and that's unfair to your work staff. So if you're going to do that, you might as well just close the whole system down, do whatever you got to do until you're ready to open it back up again, and then let all your workers come back to work if you're going to do that, because that's unfair to ask people to take food off of their table, to skip a car payment, to not pay insurance so you can fix your system that you neglected.
Well, isn't BART making a lot of profit?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Stations and the developers and the corporations seem to be.
Yeah, they're making profit by fares. They're making profit by all the construction. They're doing all this stuff. They're expanding BART. Yet they're not going after the fare evaders. If you go after the people who fare evade out of the system, why don't you try to get money from them? Because if you average it out $5 a person, you got at least 1,000 people fare evading a day. I'm not a mathematician, but in a day, that's $5,000.
But even these new stations, when a new BART station goes in, the property values goes up.
There's all kinds of things that you could do to get money for BART, and BART knows what they're doing. They know who to go after, and they know it's an easy attack on your workers. Every 4 years, you can go get something from them, and that's what BART's doing.
So, do you think it's going to pass?
Probably, I think so. I mean, it's anyone's guess. Anyone's guess. I'd rather not say.
Okay. Okay.
Alrighty.
So what happens if it doesn't pass? What do you think is going to happen?
I think that at this point they'll go back out and negotiate again. I think that they'll go back out, and we're not going to go back on the strike. I think that the situation is too fragile. BART management is in a terrible position, and they wouldn't dare let us go back out again because it's just bad.
Jason Thomas,
yes.
Are you a BART worker?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you're here to vote on the contract?
Yes, I am.
What do you think about this whole struggle that's been going on here with BART?
I'm really disappointed in the sense that management really went out their way to manufacture these strikes. It was, it's if you really pay attention to the media and the things that have been put out there about us, which were mostly lies, it's clear that they were pushing us to a strike. They wanted a strike, and they created a strike. The board of directors and management. This was, the evidence is there. our general manager didn't even show up until October. We've been in negotiations since April. It's obvious. It's obvious. So.
And Thomas P. Hawk, what was his role? And Viola?
I don't really get mad at our general manager and Tom Hawk. My honest opinion is they were hitmen hired by the board of directors and senior management to do exactly what they did. Create strikes, bust apart the union, destroy, the middle class and, working class families, it's obvious, so I don't even get mad at Grace or Tom. They did exactly what they were hired to do. A war against the middle class. A war against the middle class. It's like, because if you have economists telling everyone if BART workers do well, it raises the standard of living and employment and wages for everyone else. You got economists telling you this, and they don't want that to happen.
And
it's sad.
Do you think that the union was prepared for this war?
Hey, how's it going? Okay.
I don't know if we were prepared for it. I know management was. It's obvious they were until what happened most recently, which is very sad because I think the hardest part about it was totally avoidable. Totally preventable.
What could the union have done to prepare for this war that would have changed the circumstances?
I don't think they could have prepared because you hire a general manager that's not going to negotiate. You hire a general manager, our general manager negotiates our contract. You hired someone who didn't negotiate. April, May, June, July, August, September. You don't show up at the table until October. It's obvious.
Well, one of the things that happened was this off and on, going back. What do you think about that?
Well, see, the sad part is the media kind of put it out there as if we were, asking for all these things.
I'll be
back.
How's my buddy? There wasn't a chance. You couldn't really be prepared for this.
So, what was the role of the international Larry Hanley, other transit workers all over the country, the New York bus drivers? It seems like there's a whole-scale attack on public transit workers. Was there any rally of all transit workers in Northern California, all ATU members in the Bay Area, to back you and to say this is not just about BART, but also about all transit workers?
We did have a lot of support. There was emails and things like that. The media wasn't the only, medium that was available. A lot of the online media, social media, Twitter, Facebook, we were getting things from all over the world, actually. It was actually very encouraging. It was very encouraging. Even my riders, they were very nice. I was really impressed by all the support we got. They understood. They really understood that we're not the bad guys.
Do you think the union should have raised the issue of the transit tax, making the developers and the billionaires pay for expansion? It seems like what they were saying to you and the public, that you should take a pay cut to pay for more train cars and more. What did you think about that whole idea of management telling you that you should pay for equipment?
I think it's kind of disingenuous of them because if what I've read about it is correct, it's the Hearst Corporation owns a lot of property around the BART stations, and they don't charge taxes. They don't charge them revenue, but they expect us to cover that revenue that they could be getting from them. So in that sense, I kind of understand why the media attacked us the way they do. I understand why management does the way they do. I have to come after you because I'm not going to go after the Hearst Corporation or people that own the commercial properties and things like that, and the land developers. And, I think the interesting thing is you really saw how much deeper this all was than just a matter of workers wanting more money. It had nothing to do with workers wanting more money. It was literally trying to stay afloat, trying to, survive as, middle class and just, be able to take care of our families.
Now, BART was training replacement workers, scabs. Were you shocked? First of all, the union warned them that this was dangerous. What happened? The union tried to tell them that this was a problem, didn't they? And that was...
sometimes it's really sad, but you can't really tell anybody. Sometimes, the hardest thing in the world is make an adult do something they don't want to do. And you could have the best guidance and wisdom telling you this is not the thing to do, But if it's what you really want to do, you're going to do it. And we see, unfortunately, the consequences of their actions. This was their decision. They were warned it was not safe. I mean, even the fact that their initial reaction was say it was a graffiti train, then it was a maintenance train. It's obvious now. It's like you wanted to do what you wanted to do, and this is what happened from it.
You think it's really criminal? You think it's criminal what they did, putting people who are untrained in that situation, that they would get killed on the track? Your international president has called for a criminal investigation.
Yeah, I'm just a small person, but in my opinion, I know at the very least, as a train operator, if they had an incident like this, they'd be fired and then have to fight for their job. I haven't heard of anybody getting terminated. I haven't heard even of discipline. So, we haven't even had disciplinary procedures, let alone, criminal charges.
My name is George Figueroa. I was a first strike commander. Gotten a better contract. I think that they were woefully unprepared for what the district was going to give them. And it was the same negotiating team as 2009. I don't know how that happened, but they were timid, woefully unprepared. They collaborated with management, and so we got a contract. I mean, we should have gotten a contract with no concessions.
And why were they timid? Why didn't they said at the beginning that they didn't want to take concessions, that they were going to fight back and they were going to defend what
it was just rhetoric. It was rhetoric to get the rank and file fired up if we went on strike, and they were unprepared for Tom Hawks, Grace Kruniken, the board of directors. I mean, they went to the Democrats as if they were our friends. They treat the police like they're our friends. They treat the board like they have some influence over the board when the board and the managers were in cahoots, and everyone knows that. They were just, out there begging. It was basically begging. It wasn't even a negotiation. Please, please give us something that we can take back to the membership.
Now, some of these officials also did not really want to mobilize mass rallies. Chris Finn at the Alameda Labor Council was opposed to billboards and other publicity. Why didn't the union ATU International use the money that it has to get support for the workers, to have billboards, to have national publicity?
Well, our president, international president, is basically the mistress of the Democratic Party. So he's not going to go against them. He sent someone to spy on us and to control us a year before negotiations. That's unheard of. And then he was probably the one that stopped the first strike. Every time he flew in at night and something would happen.
Did he ever speak to the members, the rank and file members of 1555?
Yeah, he had town hall meetings which were really controlled. It was kind of like...
You mean live or by phone, or telephone?
Telephone.
Oh, so there was no public meeting, but he was coming to the Bay Area physically.
Yes.
He didn't have any rallies to rally people,
no,
to bring all ATU members in Northern California together and say, this is our fight, we're together?
No.
Is it true that he was pushing concessions at other locals of the ATU?
As far as I know, I mean, I didn't hear him say anything to the contrary, and I believe that he's basically, our union is a corporate union, and they work with management, and we've seen the defeat of other locals since he's been the president, and so he's comfortable where he is. His basic job is to control the locals.
Now, if the members reject the contract today, what should they do? What's a winning strategy to win this struggle?
It's hard to say. With the same negotiators?
You think there should be a new negotiation committee?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the rank and file should be involved. The E-board should not be allowed to negotiate without rank and file members being there. The district throws in 40, 50, 60 people. We should be able to do the same.
Did people try to go to the negotiation from the rank and file, and were they excluded?
Oh yeah, they're excluded.
So this leadership of 1555 excluded the rank and file from participating for watching the negotiations.
Yeah, that's historically been the case. And whenever rank and file wanted to get involved, it's always been stopped.
And what do they say? How do they
basically, you know, they just don't even, they just ignore it. You know, they just don't answer the question. They just don't deal with the situation.
If the contract is accepted, what's going to be the result of that?
The result is that we have 4 years to get the rank and file, to get new leadership that agrees to a platform that includes the rank and file, that realizes that we've got to have coalitions with community organizations, with other unions, that the locals have to go together and basically tell the international, if you're not going to do it for us, we do it for ourselves. We have to understand that our strength lies in those relationships with community organizations and other unions. Don't trust the politicians, don't include BART police, don't trust the board. In other words, we're in it alone. Except it's, you know, other people, other workers.
Now, BART
and we have to get the writers involved, because those fares should be either minimal or they shouldn't exist at all.
Well, why hasn't the union brought up the issue of a transit tax, taxing the developers, the billionaires, the corporations who benefit from BART?
Because they're small-minded and all they focus on is the contract and BART's union, and they don't see the bigger picture. They don't realize that we're not some organization with this enormous strength. They're delusional, and they think that we're going to do this thing alone without the help of other organizations, and they don't reach out to them except at the very end. Always, it's the case. It's like the Democrats coming to us for help. We should refuse to vote for all the Democrats. Just don't vote at all.
And these Democrats, were you surprised that they attacked the union and proposed anti-strike legislation? And Gavin Newsom was invited to the press conference, and they mentioned Mark DeSaulnier as somebody who helped them out in this negotiation.
Helped our management.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he helped our management. I mean, no, I wasn't surprised. The Democratic Party is just another wing of one party. You know, they're just like the Republicans. In fact, when they're in place, they pass more legislation against workers than the Republicans do. And that's, you know, that's been the case.
What about the idea of a labor community slate for the Board of Directors?
Absolutely, we need to do that. We need to get labor representatives in local politics and then work our way up.
And this would be a start?
This would be a start.
Community slate?
Absolutely.
And about your case, there has been an issue raised that should have been part of the negotiations, that they shouldn't have allowed you to be victimized while this negotiation is going on. Was that raised in negotiations?
No, never. Yuri maybe tried to raise it, but the rest, no. As a matter of fact, they tried to act as if I didn't exist, and Hanley called me an anarchist and something else. I don't know if it was a communist or naive or whatever, but you know, when the president of the International says you're persona non grata, that's exactly what happens.
So here you got victimized doing your work as a union strike coordinator, and then the union basically...
The union, the district, BART police, and they tried, you know, they offered me deals. I refused all of them.
You're still fighting back?
Oh, absolutely.
And what can people do who want to support you? What can people do who want to support you?
Just be there for when I come back. I'll win the trial, so when I get back, that's when I need the help.
You're not giving up?
Oh, no.
This is a long struggle.
Oh, no. I'm not. I'm going to struggle against BART until I die, because even when I retire, I'm going to pay my dues so I can go to the union meetings.
We are hopeful that from this point forward, we can go back to doing our jobs, doing it safely, professionally, as we always have in the past.